Part 2. The Cloud.
It happened again. I can't believe it happened again.
Why do you always begin in the middle?
What?
I don't know what it is. You haven't told me. There's something so exclusive about starting like that. It's hard to know if you're talking to me or if you're just talking to yourself, but you're doing it in front of me because I'm here. I mean, why am I necessary?
You sound just like Liz. You don't even sound like you. You sound like Liz. Liz would say that.
That's interesting. I don't think I sound like Liz. Maybe you're just getting similar feedback from the various people in your life.
She would totally say that too. God, what's funny is that this is just like it.
What?
Okay, I'll tell you what it is. Sometimes when I say something funny or have an idea or have a funny idea or just tell a tiny true story, I'm accused of lifting portions or concepts from various TV shows, mostly sitcoms.
That's crazy.
It is. I mean, whenever it happens, it will seem like the conversation is just a regular conversation and the other person will get a kind of look. And I'll look back at them because I want to know what's happened with them. Like, what is going on? But now, since it's happened several times, I'll think, oh shit, it's happening again. This strange accusatory thing. So then I'll say, you think I'm pretending that what I'm talking about is original, but it's really something from a TV show. And then they'll laugh and say, pretty much. But see, I'm not. I'm just talking. And even this conversation we're having now is like an episode. My talking about this thing that keeps happening, but it's not an episode. I mean, it's an episode of the thing, but not a TV episode. It's really happening.
Right. Oh my God.
What?
I just realized that you're not being exclusive when you start in the middle. When you just say it, when you don't tell me what the it is in the beginning, you just don't know how to say the whole thing yet. And you trust me to be patient, to wait while you gather your thoughts.
That's true.
Wow. Thanks. Thanks for trusting me while you gather your thoughts. You must see me as a real friend. Ruth, I'm sorry for those times, those periods where you called me and I didn't... I had a lot going on with... I think fluctuations are part of the waters of a friendship, and I think...
I love that Graceland album. That Paul Simon Graceland album from the 1980s. Do you remember it? The whole thing is someone talking, and the someone is Paul Simon. He's in a conversation about important things, but also regular things. Important regular things like relationships and being alive, but the conversation is sung, and mostly by him, so we must be the people he's talking to. We're in the conversation, but with our ears, And there are also these metaphors in it and these almost poetic interpretations of vulnerability and living and middle age and other feelings. Angels in the architecture, scattering in infinity. It's like a My Dinner with Andre record because of the quality and depth of the conversation, but it's being recorded in Africa, in Zimbabwe, right? It's a dialogue and a monologue. It has echoes. What do you call that? Thrum, right? Reverberation. It's a theatrical record. It's a ceremony. It's perfect.
You're right. It's an amazing album. Don't I know you from the cinematographer's party? Say, aren't you the woman who was recently given a Fulbright? I know what I know. I say what I've said. She looked me over. I guess she thought it was all right. All right, in a sort of a limited way for an off night. That was in the wrong order. I never realized that Fulbright is like fully bright, even though it has just one L. Wow, to be fully bright, to be radiant.
So the TV thing, I've come to the conclusion that it's just because of the cloud.
The cloud? Ruth, do you mean sky cloud or digital?
Both. It's half old cloud, half new cloud.
I don't get it.
I'm talking about an invisible collective cloud-like object, and it has this mist that descends from it and spreads out from it too. Anyone can access it at any time. Some people, though, grow up with it, and so they take it for granted. For them, it's just always there, and it always has been, but some people have to think more about it in order to have it to use it, to play with it, even access it or know about its existence. And well, if a person and a TV writer have access to the same cloud, then they could experience similar stories or situations.
So, like a culture cloud?
Yes, but it could even be a funny cloud. So if you grow up with a funny cloud that is constantly storing all the collective funny data and then misting it out, you'll notice when things are funny, and funny things will happen to you more frequently. And you'll find them really funny.
Isn't that just like having things in common?
No.
Okay.
Liz doesn't wash her hands
What?
when she uses the bathroom. She never does. Liz doesn't believe in hand washing.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you just showing me an example of when the accusing thing happens?
No, but wow, you're totally right. This is very cloud-like. It totally is. This is the cloud of people who talk about other people.
Why would you tell me that about Liz?
Well, I just thought you should know. I mean, like, if you go out for Ethiopian food or something, or do something else.
Liz and I are not fucking each other, okay? We're not going to. I'm not ready to. We're just friends, okay?
I know. She'd tell me. Or you would.
Would you be cool with it?
Not really.
How was the guy, the date with the cabinet maker nurse?
He composts his own poop in something called a dry latrine.
Gross.
Completely.
Part-time or full-time?
Full, I think.
Why?
He has a garden.
But
I think he'd be good for Liz.
why?
Think about it.
What?
Never mind. He kept talking about this book, Society of the Spectacle. It's about people who create spectacles in order to heighten their own realities.
Cool.
And how people make things into a performance in order to like their own lives more, or to make them feel meaningful, or to gain approval from other people, and to fulfill their concept of what kind of person they want to be in public. He was talking about the spectacle of marriage, or being a parent, or a teacher, or the spectacle of being an interesting person, or even of being a regular person. He said the book said that over time you could end up performing your whole life, and that you might even get to the point where you really might not know who you are anymore, for real. And so really, people should only make a spectacle of what truly interests them as a sort of frame to heighten it.
Huh.
And, well, he composts his poop, so...
So you could never.
Well, that in itself is not a deal breaker, but it's more that the poop thing is his spectacle, and he doesn't realize it. And also, it's sort of gross. I mean, I think it's unconscious, the spectacle part of it, but it's gross either way. But then we played Let's Pretend I'm a Psychic, and he was really into that.
You played it in relation to the spectacle thing.
Not really. Well, sort of. I told him about the game, and he wanted to know if in the future he'd be moving out of the country and selling his house. He said it was something he'd been thinking about doing for a while. I said, well, I can answer, but you need to know that I'm just making it up. I'm not really a psychic, but you might sort of believe that I am just by the mere suggestion of it, just by talking about it, just through what I say. And he still wanted me to do it.
So what did you say as Ruth the psychic?
I said that I thought he'd keep his house, and that a woman from Paraguay, who was not a lover, but more like a sister, would stay in his house, and that he'd go to Paraguay to both learn something and share something, and also that Paraguay would become more and more important to him, and eventually he'd see a giant butterfly as big as his head, and when he did, it would be a clear sign that the next decade of his life would be wonderful.
That is a good Let's Pretend I'm a Psychic reading. You were so nice to him.
I think he liked it. He believed it a little, too.
Remember when we played Let's Pretend I'm a Psychic?
Which time?
Well, the last time, when I called you and said things weren't going so well and I didn't know what was going to happen.
Sure.
You told me I'd start swimming one day. And I'd get scuba gear, and that moving in water would mean more and more to me.
Right.
Well, that wasn't true. I don't want to swim. I don't really care much about being in water.
Well, Will, I'm not a real psychic.
Who made that game up anyway?
I can't remember. Probably someone in the dorms. I think everyone was high.
Really? Let's pretend I'm a psychic is that old.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What is?
Let's pretend I'm a psychic has lasted longer than my marriage.
Pretending outlasts most things.
You know what? My sister's kid found a tooth in the street. My niece, she's 6, and all her friends are losing teeth, and she hasn't lost even one yet. And my sister said to her, maybe you have to find a tooth to lose a tooth. And then she found one in Minneapolis.
I love that story. She found a tooth on the street like a treasure. I wonder whose tooth it was.
The mystery of the tooth. You know what's weird?
The cloud.
Know what's weird beyond the cloud?
What?
I'm divorced. Like, I'm in the afterness of it, but I thought I'd never get here into the after. I mean, before and during the marriage, there wasn't any after at all, but now I'm inside the after. And I thought I'd be in the marriage so long that the after would only be after life itself was over, my life. So I wouldn't even know about it as me. I wouldn't know about it at all. But here I am. Now I'm a guy who has been married. I just can hardly believe I'm a guy like that.
I don't want you to fuck Liz, okay? She doesn't wash her hands.
Okay.